Try to read the book.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smart ass than a dumbass. Because, guys, 34 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, 34 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smart ass. And yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this. You know, a lot of people out there are struggling. I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm also a recovery coach. All my services to you are free. Please, please reach out. I want everyone to know someone is listening. If you think my book can help someone, because I sure do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. My book is now on audio. You can get it there with my voice, guys. Simon & Schuster wanted to do my book in audio with someone else's voice. I couldn't have that. My producer, Ruben Rodriguez, part owner of Hamilton Radio, owner of Iron Horse Films, is now doing audiobooks with your voice. So if any authors are interested, please, please reach out to me. And listen, guys, if you truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please reach out to me about that as well. I'm here to help you. Before I introduce my really cool guest, let me give a shout out to a sponsor, one of my sponsors today, Paula Ann, Ablaze Entertainment and Freedom Rings Festival, helping survivors of human trafficking to live a life of normalcy. And the Geri Petito Show is also one of her sponsors, www.freedomringsfestival.com. And, you know, Paula Ann also introduced me to my guest today. So everybody, without any further ado, let me introduce Antonio McKay. Say hello.
Hello, Jerry.
Hello, Antonio.
How
How
are you?
are you, baby?
I'm hanging in there. Doing good, doing good.
All right. So I know your puppy or your doggy's with you, and if he feels like jumping on you and saying hello, it's okay with us.
All of a sudden, she got shy. I don't know. She's way over there.
All right.
Uh,
What's her
she'll
name?
come. Lady.
Oh, lady. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, how original, right?
I love it. So, all right, Antonio. So you are an actor, a producer. I mean, you have so many accolades. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself first off.
Okay, yeah. As you say, I'm a actor, writer, producer. I'm a native of Chicago, Illinois. My parents are Jamaican and Colombian, and I came to Los Angeles in the late '80s. Stayed here for a while. I did quite well in the TV market. A lot of guest starring roles. I got a movie, my very first movie I was the star of. So I was headed great. And then I fell in love and I moved to Canada to be with a young lady. And I stayed in Canada for another 5 years. And then we came back to Los Angeles. But Canada was good. I did well in Canada too.
Are you still
However,
Are you still with the young lady?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, okay.
But we're
Okay.
friends,
Okay,
the
good.
typical, but we're still friends.
Okay, good, good. All right. So, but now you're back in LA,
Yeah, I'm back in LA.
and now you're working with Paula Ann.
Working with Paula Ann. I met Paula about, wow, it's been a long time now, maybe 10 years ago, decade ago. And she's been great. I've had a few managers in my life, but very few of them, in fact, I would say none of them paid as much attention
That's
to
right.
me as she has.
I agree.
And she takes every client she has and makes them part of the family. So
Yep, I love Paula
that's
Ann.
very
We
cool
love
to
you,
me.
Paula Ann. Yes.
That's
So, all right. So now let's go back. Well, wait. Let's go forward, and then we're gonna go
yes.
back. All
Okay.
right. So, well, let's go back a little bit first. When did you
Okay.
start acting?
Oh man, I started acting when I was in college.
Okay.
Actually, I was looking for an easy major and elective actually, and I said, "Oh, let me take a theater class. Theater class is cool." And we did plays, and I was like, and I auditioned, and I just seemed to be naturally right. It felt right,
It felt right.
So yeah, so I was hooked after that, and that's basically how it started.
So, okay. So
Mhm.
now I have a silly question for you. I mean, it's not silly, but
So,
I was cracking up. Crossbones and black blood.
oh,
All right.
okay.
Tell us.
You want the two different because they're two different
Yes,
entities.
they are.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
put it like crossbones and black blood, and yes, there are. It was too much to
Actually, it
put in. Tell us
sounds good.
about it. All right.
Okay. All right. Let me start with the first one. First one first. Crossbones is Crossbones and Roses, and that is a pirate film that I'm developing right now with my co-writer Daryl McCullough. We've done a lot of work. We finished the script. We've actually on a third version of the script right now, and it's something that has always been a dream of mine. When I got into acting, there were some specific things I wanted to do,
Okay.
and if the Hollywood powers that be weren't going to allow me to do it, I was going to do it anyway.
I love that.
Because
Go ahead.
it's like what's the use of having a dream if you have to depend on other people
Yep.
to make your dream come true? So I always wanted to play. I mean, that's when I started on my mama's lap watching Errol Flynn movies, and I wanted to be that. I didn't even think about acting. I just wanted to be a pirate. I wanted to be Robin Hood. I wanted to be Zorro. I wanted to be those swashbuckling kind of romantic guys. And of course, when you go to Hollywood, you're immediately put into, no, you're going to play this, or you're going to play that. And you become frustrated. So I told myself that I wasn't going to allow myself to become frustrated. I just take lemons and make it into lemonade.
Okay.
So I met Daryl via a Zorro website. He's a big Zorro aficionado, very gifted author. He's written a lot of books, a lot of radio plays, and we just sort of clicked. And I told him my idea, and he said, "Oh, I want to do that too." So we developed this film, and the script is based on black pirates. True, it's a true story
Oh,
with a
wait.
lot of fiction thrown in it, but they're black pirates. Yeah.
Wait. A true story about
Mhm.
pirates.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So what a lot of people don't realize is that back in the 17th century,
Yeah.
17th, 18th century, a lot of the pirates were like escaped slaves and everything like that. They had nowhere else to go. So they basically went to the Caribbean and became pirates. And they were quite good. So, and they didn't have any racial boundaries. They didn't have any of the hangups that society had. So they were basically the first democratic society. They just happened to have a little piracy in them, or a lot of piracy in them. And this is the story about two brothers, mixed blood, who led a slave revolution. And after the revolution, they took over a ship and became pirates. And a decade later, they became the most notorious pirates in the Caribbean.
Is
The
that
Blake
part
brothers.
true? Is that part true?
Partly.
Partly. Okay.
Partly. We changed the names to protect the guilty.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we condensed that into a story involving Spain and England and France, and it's a romantic kind of story. And we have a young thief in there, and who falls in love with the governor's daughter, and It's a lot of intrigue, danger, adventure, everything you could want in a movie.
What's
A
the title
popcorn
again?
movie.
What is the title again?
Cro- Crossbones, which are the pirates, and roses,
And
which
Roses.
which representing the women
Yeah,
in the film.
I love that. Okay, now
Yeah.
Black Blood. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Black Blood, aka Sangre Negra. Sangre Negra is a what they call a gentleman's soap opera in sort of like how The Sopranos was, and even Dallas to a certain extent. It was very strong males in there. It was more based to them rather than the females.
Okay.
However, the females became a big part of it anyway because they just
Right.
are.
Right.
They just are. And what it is a story of three brothers, one of whom is illegitimate, which is moi, and they're from a very wealthy Latin family, Venezuelan, according to the script. And there was a cop, youngest one. This one's a cop.
Wait, all of a sudden, wait. I can't hear him.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, the youngest one is a cop. The oldest one is a lawyer.
Okay.
And the one in the middle is me, and I'm a criminal.
Wait, a cop, a lawyer, and a criminal, and you're all brothers?
All brothers.
I love this. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I got involved. I'm illegitimate. My father had an affair with a Black woman, and I was born out of wedlock. He took me into his family, who was not having it. So of course the tension started right there and there. I got involved with the mafia. The mafia chieftain took me in and sort of trained me to become his protege, and take it from there. So you can see the conflicts. The
Wait,
first episode has me getting arrested for murder.
Wait, I have a question. Wait,
yeah.
I have a question. I have to say this, okay? The Italian in me. So, did
Okay.
your cop brother arrest you and you went to your lawyer brother for help?
Yes, how'd you know?
Okay, go ahead.
You're great. Yes, so that's exactly what happened.
Okay.
And Eric Estrada plays our dad.
Oh
So
my
he's in-
gosh.
Yeah. Eric Estrada from Chips is very cool to work with him.
You have to get me an interview. Please, I'm begging you.
Oh,
Dude.
yes, I can definitely work on that.
Tell him, listen, tell him I've interviewed a lot of actors, a lot of legends. I'm begging you. All right, continue.
Okay. Okay. And basically it shows, added attraction is my younger brother is now involved with my ex, who is my baby mama. So that makes it even more intriguing. So there's that going on.
Oh, boy.
And it's all centered around this Santos family, and also me trying to take over from my mentor.
I don't like
That's
your
basically
younger
what turned
brother, but go ahead.
Yeah, nobody likes him. Even though he's supposed to be the hero, but
No.
So we basically set it up like I always noticed that all these soaps or these successful shows, if they had brothers, there were always three of them. There's always one really good, one really bad, and then one who was kind of, even going back to the days of like Dallas and even Bonanza.
Oh, yes.
There were
yes.
always like three brothers. Three brothers was like the sweet spot. So that is how we came up with the idea, because I wrote it and co-created it with my director, Francis G. Pinnock.
Okay.
Shout out to him.
Yes.
And we produced 8-hour episodes, 4 of which are running right now all over the place on Amazon, on Roku, on Tubi, we're about to have a big splash on a new streaming network called Red Coral, and they're run by, do you remember Scott Valentine from Family Ties?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, the one who played Nick. Yeah, Nick, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's his company, and
Okay, cool.
he's going to promote us and on that. And then when the next 4 episodes are ready to go, we're going to probably premiere them there. and then go for gold on it.
I need your autograph,
Doing quite well.
okay? Yes, I need your autograph. All right. Um,
Yes.
wow, okay, so now, all right, let's go back a little bit. Growing up,
Okay.
who were some
Mhm.
of your, you know, who influenced you in acting? Who were some of your favorite
Acting?
actors?
Yeah, it's. I always tell people. When I tell people that, they always look at me like I'm crazy. But like I told you earlier, I was influenced from what I was watching from my mom. My mom had these. Her favorite actor was Errol Flynn.
Okay.
They were gonna name me Flynn, and my father didn't want it, so I wound up with this name. But anyway, so I used to watch all those swashbuckling from the black and white on her. We were watching it on TV. They used to have a TV show called Family Classics in
Okay.
Chicago, and they used to play all those Flynn movies all the time. But as I grew up and I went to the movies, and I realized, wait a minute, none of those swashbucklers look like me. And none of those romantic leading men look like me, you know what I mean? So it was kind of, I won't say depressing, but it was sort of off-putting. And then one day, my parents took me to see Lady Sings the Blues with Diana Ross.
Okay.
It was one of the first movies they took me to see in a theater. And I was like blown away by the character Billy D. Williams played.
Come
I'm like,
on.
okay, now there you go. There is a guy of color
Yep.
who is portraying the suave, debonair kind of guy that is a movie star.
Yes.
This is Clark Gable. This is Errol Flynn. This is, So then I said, okay, I'm going to follow that guy.
I love that.
So I've been following Billy D. Williams' career for decades. He's 87 years old now,
God bless
and
him.
I still follow him. I remember the whole Star Wars Lando Calrissian and what have we here? Uh, everything was like, okay, that's the kind of actor I want to be. I don't really care about being a character actor because I had proven that when I was young. All my parts, I was playing gang leaders and drug pimps and everything like that, which is so far away from the real me. I figured I've done it. So now I want to play somebody who's closer to myself. And since Hollywood picks and chooses who they're going to have do it, I wound up doing it myself. So
I love that.
that's pretty much how everything's come about.
I absolutely love that. So now
Mm.
let's talk about your dreads in a photo that I have of yours.
Okay.
I love them.
Yeah, the photo?
Well, it's on I posted it with my ad.
Oh, yeah, you're going to put it in. Okay. Yes. Well, for about 10 years, I had dreads. I grew my dreads out because I was always looking for different looks, and I never wanted to look like everybody else. That was one of my pet peeves. I would go into audition and see all these guys that look like everybody else. And I would say, at least I stood out. I
Yep.
may not get the role, but they remember me.
That's right.
You always want to have something to remember you
That's
by.
right.
And I've also noticed that most of the guys who stand out, the most charismatic performers, it's something about their hair. If you look at your guy Elvis Presley,
Oh,
the
please,
whole life
honey,
thing
honey.
it was the hair, right? He dyed his hair completely black because he wanted to look like Tony Curtis, to give him that matinee idol thing.
Okay.
And the same thing, you look at Michael Jackson.
That's right. That's right.
Prince, and all those guys, Bob Marley, everybody remembers the hair.
That's right.
And so I always looking for different ways to make my hair. Thank God I still have my hair. So, because a lot of my friends don't.
That's right.
And but it's given me the ability to do things that I've grown it long, I've cut it short, I've grown dreads, I've had it blonde, which is, I would never do that again. But just different ways to make yourself stand out. So
Well, what
that
about
was
The
the main
Rock?
reason I grew it.
What
Yeah.
about The Rock? He's bald
Yeah,
and
exactly.
super hot and sexy. Come on, baby.
Yeah.
See, it doesn't
But
matter
he
on men.
Yeah, he became that after he said, look, my hairline is receding so far back that I look crazy. So I remember him cutting it off. Because I saw him in this movie called The Game Plan. Have you ever
Yep,
seen The Game
yep,
Plan?
Yep, I love The
Yeah.
Rock.
when he was doing that Elvis kind of
That's
guy,
right.
and he had hair. I'm like, oh wow, The Rock had hair.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's why I had dreads. I had dreads for like a long time, and now I'm growing them back
Yep.
out
Yep.
for the pirate
Good.
because I figured it's just a good look.
great
Thank you, Johnny Depp, but I won't have to wear a wig. It's just be my hair.
Well, the reason I'm so all right. So I owned
Mhm.
beauty salons back in the 80s and 90s. Okay.
Mhm.
So I love. I was the first person. I was in my 20s. Back in the day in New Jersey, where I was from,
Mhm.
to have pink and purple hair.
Oh wow.
I've done it all, short, long, all craziness, right? Because I'm like
Mhm.
you. Well,
Right.
they couldn't give me dreads because my hair is too fine. So I used to have my, salon people. I used to have my hairdressers braid my hair twice a year, full head.
Really.
All right.
Mhm.
And my granddaughter is going to be 10. She's part black. So when my
Mhm.
daughter was pregnant, I'm like, okay, yes, I am going to have a granddaughter with dreads. Okay.
Yeah.
She's whiter than me. Okay. She doesn't even have dark hair. I'm like, what
Oh no.
happened? Okay. So anyway, I love all that. And so that's why when I saw that picture of you, I was like, oh my gosh, we got to talk about his
Yeah.
dreads.
Yeah.
So cool.
Hey, I love that period in my life. It was very, a lot of good things happened to me during that period. So
Yep. Very cool.
hopefully when I grow them again, more good things will happen.
Heck yeah, baby. So now,
Yeah.
okay, so now I want to go back in time a little bit more, and then we'll talk about like what
Okay.
your forecasts are for what's up and coming and all that. But let's go back in time a little bit more. So I love your attitude about if Hollywood wasn't going to do it, I'm going to do it anyway. All right?
Mhm.
Because I grew up being a rebel. My poor father from Italy, my Italian dad used to shake his head. What the hell's the matter for you? What if this happens? I said, yeah, but what
Right.
if this happens? Pop. So I love your attitude. So let's go back in time. So when you were younger in school,
Mhm.
okay, how did you do in school? I'm asking for a reason.
I did. That's a two-part question.
Okay.
My early schooling, uh, I went through a phase where I was really rebellious,
Yep.
really ill-disciplined, really a troublemaker, and I got shipped off to my dad's country of Jamaica.
Okay.
So I went to high school in Jamaica, and my whole life changed. I got disciplined
All right.
because if I didn't hang right, I got a cane,
Yep.
drop your butt, because that's what they did in
Yep.
Jamaica.
We got the
And we
shoe, the slipper, the
got the
Italian
shoe,
slipper.
yeah, or something, right? So I was there. I lived with some foster people, even though my parents, I mean, they took care of me. But while I was in school, I stayed with them, and they were great.
Good.
And I learned so much about the culture, and which is partly my culture. So it was very easy for me to compare, and I feel like I became a much better person because of
Yes.
it. Not only became more disciplined, I started to follow rules,
Yes.
even though I bent them, but at least I
Yep.
didn't break them.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
you know, and yeah, it was a good experience. So I did quite well there. I came first in my class and all that
Okay.
stuff.
Well, there you
And
go.
then when I graduated, came back. Well, I feel like where I am. I'm in LA. So I went back to Chicago, went to school at Loyola University, got a degree in English. And then I went to Columbia, because I only spent 2 years at Loyola, and got a degree in theater, the theater arts.
Oh, I love that.
So I got 2 bachelor degrees of things that I can't get a tech job, but it's good for acting.
So
So,
acting, all right.
yeah.
The reason why I love acting, I love all that stuff. I'm an artist, I'm a
Mhm.
Pisces, so I always say the good fish and the bad fish swimming in opposite directions, okay?
Mhm.
So I'm very creative, okay? I went to art school in New York, but I always wanted to get into acting, but you know why I can't? Because I can't remember. I can't
Oh,
memorize. I can't do that. Like I'm
oh,
cracking up.
wow.
Everything I would ever do in acting would be like ad-libbed and they wouldn't have that.
Right.
So how do you do it? Like how do you memorize the lines?
Well, there's also a secret. You know about cue cards too, right?
Well, I know there's cue cards
Yeah.
and all that, but they would have to have 100 cue cards in front of me. Okay, so go ahead.
I'll tell you a secret. I work with a few really well-known actors, and they use cue cards for every scene.
Well, they might be getting
Literally
up in age
huge.
now, right? Because they're forgetting
Yeah,
probably.
well, or they're just lazy. But whatever. But they do it
All right.
anyway. But I found that what a lot of actors don't do is listen. Sometimes if you know your script and you just listen to the other actor, that's why other actors are so important. It's so important for it to be a cumulative process, because if an actor is speaking, you just feel where your line comes in, and it just automatically remember it.
Okay. Okay.
You know, it's just something that occurs when the actors are in sync. It's like if I'm talking to you, I don't know what you're going to say next, but I'm going to answer you when you ask me a question.
Right.
And whatever pops in my head, I'm going to give you the answer. So that's the same thing with acting. You have to stop thinking about your next line. You
Oh,
just have to listen to the other actor, and then what comes out, since you've already learned your lines, what comes out automatically in your head is what you're thinking.
like your
And
cue. Yes. Very
it's like
cool.
a cue. It's like I always compare it to songs. Like if you hear a song like when you're 10 years old and you know this song back front, 30 years later, you still know every line in that song,
That's right.
even though you may not be able to remember what you had for dinner last night, but you can remember that it's just in your memory,
That's
and
right.
something triggers it.
That's right.
When you hear that music, oh, it triggers it. I'm supposed to sing, oh, and then you start singing and everything. You know, it's it's something I can't really
No, you
explain
can't explain
scientifically,
that.
but that's what I found.
My dad, God rest his soul, passed away of Alzheimer's. He
Mm.
had a great long life.
Oh,
We traveled the
sorry.
world together. He was amazing. He was up in
Mm,
age, so he had a great life. But he was in the car with me one day. He didn't know who I was, didn't know anything really. I
mhm.
put on an Italian song. Do you know he sang it?
Of
It
course,
was
yeah, he
amazing.
remembers everything, right?
So music. Let's
Yeah.
talk about music with you a little bit.
Mhm.
So who
Oh.
are some of your favorite musicians, singers, groups?
Or you're gonna like this. Um, my my favorite, I would say my favorite musician of all times is Prince,
Okay,
for various reasons.
love it.
Michael Jackson
Okay.
and Elvis Presley.
I
Those are
love you
my
more.
those are my three favorite musician performers. I
Okay.
just think they're unparalleled.
They're three of the top.
Yeah,
I agree
they're
with
the
you.
top one.
Three
Yeah,
of the top,
and
baby. Yes.
all for different reasons. They're
Yes,
not
all for
like
different reasons. Right.
they're different.
Exactly.
All three of them captivate you on stage. They have the charisma, they have the musicianship, they have the genius, they have the voices, they have everything you need um, to create what I call a perfect performer that a
Amazing.
lot of the performers now don't have. I
Right.
remember when American Idol started, they were always looking for idols,
Yep.
and the idols had to have they had to have great looks, they had to have a lot of charisma, stage presence, as well as a singing voice. Now it's just, oh, if they can sing, let's put them up there.
It's different.
And I'm like,
It's different.
yeah,
It's different.
great singers, but a great singer doesn't necessarily make a great performer,
Right.
you know?
I
And
agree.
the great thing about the three people I mentioned is they had all three
They had it
things.
all.
So,
You know, I don't care how young the kids are today. If you mention those three names, they all know them.
they all
You know,
know it. Yep.
they're endless. They're timeless. Those three. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree with you 100%. Wow.
Mhm.
So now, one more music question. So, is
Mhm.
there a song that resonates with you from when for years that you could say maybe is probably one of your favorite songs of all time?
Oh, wow.
That's a tough
another,
one.
another thing you guys said, nobody's going to expect this except people who know me well, so I'm letting you into on a secret.
All right.
But my favorite song of all time, because my mom used to sing it all the time,
Okay.
is in my memory, is "Suspicious Minds" by Elvis Presley.
What? Okay.
That is like
We're now best
every time
buds.
I can hear that song over, I never get tired of it.
All right, you're now one of my besties. Okay, that's it.
I know, despite the Prince of Michael Jackson, my favorite song is the Elvis Presley song.
Okay, very cool, very cool. All right, very cool. So now let's talk a little bit about today and what's up and coming, what you foresee, and what your
Mhm.
plans are. Do you have anything else in the works?
Yeah, I have. We have a script that Paula knows about it, called Forbidden, which is it's a murder mystery surrounding a music group that I wrote a long time ago. I was going to play a role in it, the lead guy, but I've out. What do you call it?
Wait, I can't hear you again.
I
Okay.
got but smartly, I've made another role, which is just as good except older. So I'm going to play that role, and I'm going to find somebody else to play the role I was going to play.
But wait,
Anyway,
wait.
it's called Forbidden.
But wait, I have to ask you about that because
Yeah.
I'm not an actor, none of
Mhm.
that. What would make you say I shouldn't play a certain role, but I should play this one?
Well, because the role is written for a guy who's like in his 20s.
Okay. All right, I
Okay.
get it.
And I just think I could change it a lot and make it, but I rather play the other role, which is also a really good role, except he's more of the villain of the
Okay.
thing. But
Got-
it's a good role, and now I think I can play it. Whereas 20 years ago I couldn't
Okay.
play
That
that
makes
role, so
sense.
now I can move up to that role. So basically, it's good. It's great.
That makes
So
sense.
I'm trying to develop that. There's a lot of music in it. Um, at one point, Halle Berry was attached to it,
Okay.
and I could tell you that story. That'll take up too much time, but so now I'm going to try to revive it, rewrite it a little bit, and we're going to try to put that on the next after the pirate film,
Okay.
after the second season of Sangre Negra, Black Blood, and the pirate film. Then I'm going to work on Forbidden,
Okay.
and after that, I don't have any plans. I just want to get those done.
Okay. Are those the only ones that you've been working on and writing? Do you have any others that maybe you put on the back burner?
Those are the only ones.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the only ones. I wrote a screenplay for a Zorro film, but to get the rights for Zorro is
Tough.
freaking ridiculously expensive. It's like $400,000 just to get the
Oh,
rights.
stop it.
I'm like, that was going to be the whole budget for the movie, just for the rights. So
Forget that.
I think my friend Vilma Valderrama, he's got it with Disney to do a remake of the Disney series, but even he is having a little bit of problem with the whole. First of all, he's still on that what's it called? It's not CSI. What's it called? NCIS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's still on there. So, but he's trying to develop the Zorro series for Sony for Disney.
Okay.
So I
Very
wish him
cool.
luck with that.
Very
So I've just
cool.
moved on to pirates. That's all.
I love it. Do you ever write
Yeah.
poetry?
I have not,
Okay.
but it's something that I've thought about. I wrote a song.
Wait, you wrote a song?
Yeah, I wrote a song.
Who sings
Can't
it?
remember it now. I'm gonna dig it up. It was a pretty good song, actually.
Who's singing it?
Um, who was singing it? It was this group. Oh, a group that we put together for the movie Forbidden. I remember I was telling you about. They sang it. It was just actors and singers that we just put together, and they sang it. We never released it or anything like that.
Oh, I would have loved to
but-
have heard that. Okay.
But if we get this movie produced, then I want to put that song back in. Of course, I want to revamp it a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's the closest I've done to writing poetry.
Okay. Well, it's time for me to read a poem out of my book that I've written.
Oh, okay.
All right. And the
I'm all
reason
ears.
why I like to read this one when I do entertainers is because it's called Utilizing Gifts and Talents. And, you know, Antonio, a lot of people are going to be messaging me, man. I wish I could do what he does. I wish I could write movies. I wish I could act.
Mhm.
A lot of people question their self worth. A lot of people think they have nothing to offer,
Right.
but everyone has something to offer. You just got to figure out what it is and do it, like you did as a kid, right? And,
Mhm.
I mean, I always say this, what if we didn't have sanitation workers? What the heck would we do? Like, to me,
Exactly.
they're right up there. I
Mhm.
always say, like, everyone has worth. So if anybody out there is struggling with that, listen to every word of this poem, okay? Utilizing gifts and talents. We are born with talents, we are born with drive, with different gifts to help us thrive. I knew early on I was born to draw and paint and to also write poetry and to talk without restraint. Our gifts and talents should all be used, God's gift to us, not be abused. We can go far in life for sure, using our gifts to go on tour, like this guy's doing. All our talents should be used to create ourselves and more, but then our job's to share them, to even up the score. You see, in life, what's needed is not just for ourselves. Once our gifts are mastered, take them off the shelves. A living we can make by spreading them around, not just for the money, but to spread a peaceful sound. So don't take for granted the gifts you're given. Go out and spread the joy. Our gifts are not to be held back for us to self destroy. Put your efforts forth, do not hesitate. All your talents, my friend, are never second rate. Never hold them back, or you will surely die. Maybe not in body, but your soul will cry. Our gifts were made to share, our talents made to soar. Go through life enlightened, and then you can roar. Be proud of who you are. Be happy you're alive. Once again, my friend, your gifts will help you thrive. By putting efforts forth, not keeping them at bay, your name, Antonio McKay, baby, will live forever, forever and a day. So go through life excited for what you sure can give to yourself and others is our reason to live. Our grave will be quite lonely, but our legacy lives on. So make sure people smile with the breaking dawn. And that's what you're doing.
Very inspiring. I love it. I love
Thank
it.
you. And that's what you're
That's
doing.
what you call inspiration. Thank you.
There you go. That's
Thank
what
you.
you're doing. I mean, I
Mhm.
don't know what we would do without entertainers, singers, actors. I don't know what we would do, right? Think about it. Our whole lives were wrapped around the music we listened to, the shows we watched, right?
Yep, exactly. Totally. And it's funny, people give entertainers, a, entertainment gets a bad rap,
I
right?
don't like
Because of
that.
all crap around it.
Wait, your voice again. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
once you really realize how much life would be dull and almost unbearable without entertainment,
Yeah.
uh, you realize how important it is. You know,
Through COVID, right? Antonio,
yeah,
everybody was
COVID,
at
yeah,
home watching TV,
watching everything,
listening
yeah,
to music, watching, right. So
yeah,
we found out, baby, the hard way.
mhm, yeah. We had to watch the Tiger King and pretend it was good. Uh, so that's what happens. Yeah,
Yep.
you. So yes, I think you're right. As long as people want to make good stuff, creative stuff, I think entertainment industry will keep going no matter what happens
Yes.
around it.
Yes.
Um, Sometimes it seems like it's a struggle, and every actor and singer, musician, artist, everybody has gone through the whole. You never make a living at it. You never do this. You never do that. And it takes a lot to keep going, but that strengthens your character, you know. And if that's what you want to do, that's what you got to do.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree 100%. So we have a few minutes left. I don't
Hmm.
want you to say, oh crap, I forgot to tell her this. I wanted to say this. I wanted to bring this
No,
up. The mic is yours.
Mike is mine. Okay. Um, One thing, everybody watch Sangre Negra Black Blood, first 4 episodes now on Amazon, Roku, and Tubi. And we will be premiering the whole shebang on Real, oh shoot, Real, Red Coral Network. You can get that on Roku also. But right now you can see it on Amazon, Roku, and Tubi. So that's that. And then hopefully we start filming at the end of 2025, no later than the beginning of 2026. The pirate film, Crossbones and Roses. Myself, Stoney Jackson, if you guys remember Stoney Jackson, Richard Grieco, if you remember Richard Grieco, and a couple other people we're negotiating with, so I can't bring their names up right now, but
Okay.
those are the ones. It's going to be good. A lot of female fighting pirates, not fighting each other. Well, sometimes they fight each other, but they're pirates, and it's just a swashbuckler with a different slant on it.
Okay,
know.
very cool. So I just want to share something. Frankie Avalon, I did an interview with him, and he loved Elvis, by the way. They were friends. And of course, I had to bring up Elvis during that interview.
Of course,
So,
of course.
Elvis, so music is a must for you to keep your joy, especially
Yes,
if it's Elvis,
sure.
baby, because Elvis is my
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah, Elvis is something. I mean, he's another guy I grew up. My mom ran his movies all the time.
Crazy.
Sometimes I couldn't tell the difference between one movie and the other.
I know, right?
But,
Right?
you
Yeah.
know, nobody cared. It's
Nobody
like Elvis
cared.
gets a girl, he's going to sing some songs.
That's
I
right.
like it. So whatever. But
So,
yeah,
Antonio,
so did
you're
you like
amazing.
the movie with Austin Butler?
Okay, you're asking, right? So I'm going to
Yeah.
share. So the actors were incredible. They all deserved
Mhm.
awards.
I thought he deserved an Oscar myself. I
Okay,
thought it was
me
really
too.
good. Yeah.
Me too. But
Mhm.
as far as the movie itself, I
Mhm.
cried the whole time because
Mhm.
they were all lies. The next day I went
Mhm.
back alone because there were 12 of us that went the opening day here in my town. Then I
Mhm.
went back with my pad, took notes, got in
wow.
touch with a couple of my ETAs, Elvis tribute artists who were huge Elvis fans, compared our
Mhm.
notes, and I did a show that week on how 90% in that movie were lies.
Mhm.
And I don't want to hear, oh, it was a movie. No. They made
Mhm.
Elvis look bad a few times, and one of them was the scene where they said Elvis went into the army because the colonel got him out of going to jail for shaking his hips on stage. That was a lie.
Right.
The colonel
Yeah, I
tried to
kind
get
of
him
knew that
out.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but so
yeah.
why say that? Why
Yeah,
people
yeah.
who are going to that movie are Elvis fans? Why would you say that? Okay, the
Mhm.
people that weren't really Elvis fans are going to believe that. That was a
Right.
lie, a
Mhm.
terrible lie. So,
Mhm.
the colonel tried to get him out of going, and he said, absolutely not, And then a few other things, silly lies. This was
Yeah.
silly. They have
Mhm.
him singing on stage, and the name of the song and the date is going across him. That song didn't even come out yet that year. Okay?
Yeah.
And then this was bad too. The scene where he was screaming and cursing "You're fired" to the colonel out in the audience while
Mhm.
he's on
Oh,
stage,
yeah.
that happened, but in a hotel hallway, not
Mhm.
on stage.
It was
So
done for
stupid.
dramatic effect.
Yeah, and I didn't like it. Being
Yeah.
the Elvis fan I
Yeah.
am, I didn't like it, baby.
Yeah.
And I even called Jack Soden, the president of Graceland, and I was like,
Mhm.
Jack, why did they allow that? And he said, Jerry, I can't answer it. He said, I
Mhm.
get it. I understand. He goes, I don't know.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
I hear you. And I think if as a I get torn sometimes because I know how the movie business is. I know how
right.
you have to have dramatic. Of course, Elvis's life was pretty dramatic. I don't know if he had to go through all that. I'm anxious to see how the Michael Jackson thing.
Right.
They have Michael bio is going to come out in this year. Is it this year
Right.
or next year? This year.
You
Next
know?
year. Yeah, I think it's next year.
Okay.
Early next year, like Christmas time.
Okay.
Maybe this Christmas, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, so it's going to be, if anything, it's going to be even more controversial because of all the
Yes.
accusations and
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Are they going to address it? How are they going to address it? And people are going to be watching for that. So that should be very, very interesting.
Yep.
And unlike Elvis, Michael got to tour the world. So the whole world has seen Michael Jackson, right?
That's right.
I don't know. Was it true that the Colonel stopped Elvis
The
from
colonel
doing
stopped Elvis because the colonel was here illegally. So,
Yes, and
and
he
then I'll
couldn't go
share
travel.
something else with you off air. But the colonel
Mhm.
stopped Elvis because he was here illegally, and then
Mhm.
he thought if he let Elvis go out of the country, he would get caught and have to go back home.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that part of the movie was right. They put that in there. Yeah.
So
That was very interesting. I didn't know that much about the Colonel until I watched the movie. Then I read up more about him.
yeah.
He was somewhat of a snake, but
Yeah.
Elvis owed a lot to him.
Oh, Elvis owed a lot to. I
Yeah.
agree with you. Yes.
So and that happens a lot too. And some of the biggest snakes are the ones who
Yep.
create some of the,
Crazy.
I did a film in Canada, and I met the producer one time. Little did I know how famous he would become because it was Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I met Harvey Weinstein. I was like, wow, okay. He was a very nice, charming
Okay.
fellow.
That's
He had
so
bad
cool.
breath though, but that's anyway. But and then all these years later, I was like, oh, dude, what the heck? I didn't know all that was going on. But,
Okay.
so you just never know.
You never
But he was
know.
a creative guy. He produced great movies.
So very cool.
Yep.
So all right. So I think you're incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody
You
share
too.
this show and really check him out, please. He's amazing, and I can't wait to see him in his dreads again.
Me too. Me too. I always get
Yay!
nervous that how is it going to look now after all these years?
I think
Is
it'll
it gonna
be
look as
incredible. I don't care.
good as it did before? Okay.
Amazing, amazing,
Good.
amazing. So, all right,
Yeah.
Antonio. So, anything else you'd like to share before we close?
I want to say shout out to Paula Ann,
Yep.
and we have some events coming up in June
Okay.
that I'm sure you're going to know about it, and we're going to promote it on your show. Auction for CPD, the CPD, yes, emphysema, et cetera, and a lot of stuff going on.
Very
We're
cool.
going to be doing,
Very cool.
as well as getting this movie out.
Very cool. Antonio, this was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Same here.
You're awesome. So I want to thank you personally for honoring me here on the Geri Petito Show, Hamilton Radio. You just rocked it. Paula Ann, I love you and thank you again. You always get me such incredible guests.
Great.
So everybody, Antonio McKay, our
Thank you,
pirate
designer.
baby with dreads.
With dreads. It's coming. It's
It's
coming.
coming. Here we go. Take us out, producer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is it really true? Is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.